Over the last 2 decades, SpaceX has done so well they've stayed atop all other aerospace companies like Boeing and Blue Origin, coming behind in the space race. Thus, it's no surprise that many companies, including Boeing to an extent, try their best to imitate Elon Musk's prosperous SpaceX. Some of these companies even go the extra mile of making rebranded replicas of SpaceX's spacecrafts, then adding a few finishing touches to make it look different. Sadly, you can only copy SpaceX's designs and bodywork plans. You can never copy its achievements. Let's start with a German copy of SpaceX, Rocket Factory Augsburg, or RFA. The RFA is a private aerospace company just like SpaceX and was established in 2018 with a dream of building rockets that could match SpaceX's and ultimately push them off from the space game. With the headquarters in Augsburg, Germany, the company has over 300 employees from over 30 countries around the world. Enough of the boring stuff, let's compare the RFA to SpaceX. Even though RFA has only been active for 6 years now, it did make a name for itself, creating its first spacecraft, the RFA One. Interestingly, the RFA One is almost an exact replica of SpaceX's Falcon 1, their first orbital rocket. Both the RFA One and the Falcon 1 vehicles are designed to carry medium-sized loads, though with the RFA One being able to carry more than twice that of the Falcon. Yet technically both spacecrafts are still placed in the small payload group when it comes to spacecraft capacity. Also, while SpaceX has plans on making the Falcon 1 a reusable spacecraft, the RFA One has gotten updates that aim at making it reusable. So far, not many aerospace giants have reusable planes, with only SpaceX achieving this great feat with the Falcon 9, Dragon, and the Starship. If the Augsburg Space Company can achieve this with a couple of tweaks on the RFA One, they would go into the same spotlight as SpaceX. Another similarity would be the single main engine design of both the Falcon 1 and the RFA One. Both rockets feature single engines for their first stage, with the RFA One using a Helix engine, while the Falcon used a Merlin 1C engine. This really slashed their production cost and also provides ease with simplicity. Then there's the weight. They are relatively smaller compared to SpaceX's Starship Super Heavy couple. Both Falcon 1 and the RFA One also use the same propellant, a homogeneous mixture of refined kerosene and liquid oxygen. With these similarities, the German space company would definitely be placing themselves in the same glory as SpaceX. Sadly, the RFA One was a big disappointment to the world and a laughingstock to Elon Musk. The very first test flight of RFA One ended in a burst of sparks, fumes, and fire when the shuttle exploded on the 19th of August 2024. The test flight was meant to lay the groundwork for a planned debut launch off the Saxavord spaceport in the Shetland Islands. Sadly, this might have to wait. Saxavord Spaceport had recently been licensed as a vertical launch site in Western Europe. Rocket Factory Augsburg aimed to be the first company to successfully launch from the new launch pad with its RFA One rocket. Unfortunately, the RFA One explosion only left both Saxavord and Rocket Factory Augsburg asking if it was some curse. While the fire started at the bottom of the rocket, it was only a while before the whole spacecraft got engulfed by its own flames. Even though the German company was lucky to record no deaths, the humongous amount of money invested in the rocket was now in flames. Clearly, Rocket Factory Augsburg would have to do some more homework if they want to be as successful as SpaceX. In the meantime, let's hope they understand that failures like these are only part of their success story. SpaceX suffered at least 3 rocket explosions. This one would be a Chinese rocket story. Don't worry, it'll all be in English. Space Pioneer is a Chinese copy of SpaceX, privately owned and also with a vision of making a huge name in the space shuttle market. It was founded in 2019 and has its headquarters in Beijing, China. Space Pioneer has quite the same dreams as SpaceX, with the aim of creating reusable spacecrafts like the Dragon and the Starship, and also to join the Chinese National Satellite Internet project. This project is similar to SpaceX's Starlink satellites project. Space Pioneer's Tianlong 3 rocket is a Chinese version of SpaceX's Falcon 9 spacecraft, one of the glorious vehicles of the company. Both vehicles are alike in quite a lot of ways, including payload, structural materials, and reusability. For starters, both spacecraft use the same propellant fluid and also have the same clustered engine configuration. This significantly increases their thrust power while also preventing a massive explosion if one engine fails. Like the Falcon 9, the Tianlong 3 rocket aims to be fully reusable, having its first stage to be capable of successful automatic landings, something like the SpaceX's Starship and the Falcon 9. If Space Pioneer could achieve this with the Tianlong 3, it would make the spacecraft the first ever Chinese rocket to be reusable. And trust me, this would be a really huge record, as there are not so many reusable space shuttles in existence. One similarity that would shock you would be that the Tianlong 3 is planned to land vertically, a milestone that was first completed by the Falcon 9 vehicle. This certainly would be another record for the Chinese space company, making their spacecraft the first Chinese spacecraft to perform a vertical landing. Unfortunately, all these records will probably never be made. Why so? Well, the Tianlong 3 accidentally launched itself in June of 2024. After launching, its onboard computer shut down, causing the spacecraft to climb a few meters above the ground before it went haywire and turned to crash into a nearby mountain. On impact, it burst into pieces, leaving dark smoke tracks and fire behind. Space Pioneer addressed the press, stating that even though the crash site was way distant from the residential areas, the financial cost of the damages was way beyond measurable. Having to start again would be really difficult, and we might not see another Chinese replica of the Falcon 9 for a few years. Even when Space Pioneer and Rocket Factory Augsburg could copy SpaceX's designs, they couldn't achieve so much. This probably explains why Elon Musk never really took them as competition. They could copy, but they couldn't pass the test. I guess both companies will be asking the same question. SpaceX's success is nothing short of extraordinary, driven by Elon Musk's blend of innovation, dream, and a thrill for excellence. These characteristics were mixed together and poured out into some special features of SpaceX's vehicles. Let's learn some of these features. SpaceX's success in making its vehicles reusable is one of the greatest milestones it has ever achieved, marked by the Falcon 9 rocket, which was the first orbital rocket to return its first stage to Earth for reuse. This drastically lowered the cost of fixing up the vehicle and relaunching it into space. SpaceX extended this onto its other spacecrafts, including the Dragon, the Starship, and the Super Heavy booster. It also transited from vertically landing on water to vertically landing on land. This significantly increased the reusability of the spacecraft. Now, reusability has become a major aim of almost all aerospace companies. Also, unlike most aerospace companies that outsource components and couple them up together, SpaceX designs and manufactures most, if not all, of its rocket parts. This doesn't only speed up development, but also allows the company to maintain tight control over quality and costs. Elon Musk can proudly say, originality is key. SpaceX's so-called culture of innovation is also a significant driver of its success. This culture is expressed in its spacecraft and their projects. The Starship is designed for interplanetary travel and even for Elon Musk's planned Mars colonization. The Falcon 9 is designed for large cargo and crew missions in near-Earth orbit, and the Dragon is designed for return missions. SpaceX would only be an inspiration to these two companies, and they can only try to imitate it. Success, however, cannot easily be copied. In the meantime, they really need to work on their rockets and probably draw a better blueprint for success. While already ruling the space market, SpaceX isn't settling yet. Elon Musk is hungry for more. The aerospace giant has drawn out huge plans for their vehicles, including the creation of new ones and the modification of the old ones. Let's see some of these big plans. Elon Musk has always advocated for making man a multi-planetary species, a form that resides on multiple planets. This dream might come to reality soon, as he recently announced on X, formerly called Twitter, that his SpaceX has plans of performing the first uncrewed flight of the Starship to Mars. He also announced that if this is successful, the first crewed flight would be made, marking man's first contact with the Red Planet. Indeed, this would be one of the greatest achievements made by man, even surpassing the landing on the Moon. Elon Musk also plans to have the Starship perform charter flights for suborbital and orbital space tourism. Basically, we will now be able to explore space as part of our tourist spots. We better get prepared to buy spacesuits for this one. These missions will also include orbits around the Moon as well as trips in near-Earth space and other distant spots in space. SpaceX also plans to use the Starship to launch Starlink satellites into space. This would go a long way in providing extremely fast internet for us down on Earth, ousting fiber optic cables and communication towers. The Falcon 9 vehicle has started this already, having launched over 5,000 satellites into space. Clearly, SpaceX would not stop being better, and Elon Musk is ready to take us to a much better level of civilization. For companies that would want to mimic SpaceX gimmicks, we really hope they catch up. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Space Minds for the latest updates on our space news and adventures.